Welcome to the Healthy Brotherhood Experience. I am your co-host, Lucier Boyd, and I have my co-host with me, JT Hale from the AT Hale.
And we got a special treat for you guys tonight. We just had the London Marathon took place, and we have three of our brothers who ventured across the pond, as it's called, to complete the London Marathon. We had more than three Black Men Run brothers that went to. They'll give us a rundown of who all that was, but I figured we would get at least three of these brothers on here. So I'd like to introduce you guys to brother Dr. Jamie Scott Jenkins, brother Dwayne Goldburn. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, that's cool. Yep, Goldberg.
He said that's cool. Goldburn.
Oh,
And
yeah.
brother Damon Manning. I keep saying Damon because I know a couple of Damon, but it's Damon. I got it right. Welcome, brothers. Welcome. So London Marathon. So first, right off the bat, we see you guys, your shirts, you got your medals. Y'all want to show those medals off, man? Kind of raise them up for us.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
Yeah.
London Marathons.
You notice the 45 on there now. You notice that 45th running.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I
That's
thought
amazing.
that was your age on there.
Don't I wish?
So guys, tell us about London. First of all, when you decided to do London or how you decided, I want to do the London Marathon. Have you done the other majors as well? And this is like next.
Yeah, so my story is an interesting one because I kind of started the journey to doing the majors kind of by accident. So I had a buddy of mine who challenged me to qualify for the Boston Marathon just based on like the times that I've been running in, my half marathons. And so after he bothered me for long enough, I decided to do that and was able to qualify in St. Louis to run Boston. And so that's kind of when I started hearing about the six majors. And so then I just kind of caught the bug and decided to explore that. And so last year I ran Boston, Berlin, Chicago, and New York. And then, of course, just did London. So that's my journey to this point.
Whoa. So how many more do you have left to do?
Well, so I have Tokyo left technically.
Okay.
Damon is laughing because we've been talking about this. So hey man, London took me out, man. We'll talk about that later, but
I see.
So now I'm like Tokyo, maybe, we'll see. we'll see. We'll see.
You might as well finish it up.
I might be 5 and done. We'll see.
Oh, Sydney coming for you too.
Oh,
Sydney,
man. Oh gosh.
Now that's the one they've added, right?
Yeah. So they added Sydney. Yeah. So my original plan, I wanted to do all of them in 1 year, but I didn't get into Tokyo this past year. And so that kind of threw off my plan a little bit. So we'll see.
Wow. That's amazing. Damon, what was your motivation for doing London, man?
Yeah, interesting. My first marathon was I've always been a runner, but never a long distance runner. And so my first marathon was in 2007, and that was the Richmond Marathon, which is where I live.
Okay.
And so I was, classic story. I was the one and done. It was a bucket list item. And when I was training for that, everyone was like, "Yo, you're kind of fast. You can qualify for Boston." Now, again, I'm a lifelong runner. Boston meant nothing to me. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like, I was like, oh, Boston. And so long story short, I ran Richmond. I ended up qualifying for Boston. And I was like, all right, well, let me do this. And then I learned about the history of the race and all that. And I ended up, running Boston. Long story short, I think from there, you kind of get the bug, you meet people, everybody else is running marathons. And so then you kind of hear about the culture And then for me, if I had a marathon goal, like I've done very well in terms of times and stuff like that over time, but I never had any other goal. Like people like, oh, I want to do 7 continents, oh, I want to do all 50 states, and more power to them. But I was like, well, if I want to do anything now, learn about the majors. I was like, well, if I have a lifelong goal, it would be to do all the world majors. And I think at that time, because I'm up there. Um, I think Tokyo was just added like before that. And so I naturally did all the ones in the States. I did Boston, I did New York, and I did Chicago a long time ago. And then I was still kind of nervous about crossing the pond. And then after a while, I kind of did other stuff, coaching and all of that. And marathon became a lot in terms of my schedule. Fast forward, BMR's meetup in Detroit. So I had done marathons for a long time. I mean, for like almost 10, 15 years. And so a lot of guys in our chapter, BMR Richmond, RBA chapter, was like, hey, let's do the meetup. And I was like, well, I'll do like the half or the 5K. I just want to go out there and be with the brothers. And they were like, but I trained everybody on our team for the marathon and the half. And so our captain, our current captain now, Stan Brayboy, was like, yo, you ain't gonna go out to Detroit. If you're gonna train us, you might as well run it. So that's where I got the bug again. I ended up running Detroit, did well. And long story short, that got me back onto like, you know what, let me kind of, figure this out and fulfill this dream of mine, which is to get the 6 stars and do all the world majors. And when they added Sydney, I was like, yeah, all right, y'all can have that. So as long as I knew I could still get my 6 stars, that was my original plan. If I do Sydney, then they're going to add Cape Town, and I think Shanghai is also going to be added later on. Those things are fine. I just wanted the 6 stars was my original goal. So, last thing I would say about that is two brothers, Stan Brave were our captain, and then Devin um, Howell, he's another one that liked to travel a lot. And so they were ones being like, hey, let's get into the London marathon. I mean, lottery. Let's get into the Tokyo lottery and all that stuff. So long story short, that's how I ended up getting into that either via lottery or through some of the travel companies and been able to kind of wrap this up. So my last one, like Jamie, is Tokyo. And 'cause Jamie and I did Berlin last year together. Um, and I don't know, Dwayne, if you did it, but yeah, so Tokyo is my last one. So anyway, long story short, that's how I ended up doing London and being able to, hopefully wrap up this dream pretty soon of getting my.
That's right. That's amazing. Dwayne, what's your story, man?
All right, so listen, JT, man, listen. You got me on the wrong time with the wrong brothers, right? All
Uh-oh.
these guys done ran it five. This is my first major. And I'm so happy I got a chance to run this first major, right? So starting off, I didn't know anything about majors. I'm more, athletic football, been active all my life, that whole little deal. I ran a little bit, but I did a lot of stuff. So I'm just, doing a whole bunch of stuff. But it wasn't until me joining the BMR group and some of these other run groups that I found out what the actual majors was. And then having the opportunity to run different races and marathons and 5Ks, 10Ks, you name it, trail races, ultra marathons, that whole little trail bus. It just got me going on a path. And then learning about them. I mean, I knew about Boston, I knew about New York, but I didn't know they were connected like that. And until just getting informed, I was just totally out of that running type of space. But then actually, when you start running with a group of individuals that know about these things, your mind just get open to all these possibilities of running other places and doing other things and connecting with so many great guys. So that being said, I got a chance to get a lottery from a run group that blessed me with the opportunity to come to London, and I jumped on it and went out there and I maybe have a similar story to Doc over there, Jamie, but it took me out a little bit in the beginning, but we finished, But I'm excited, and I actually want to get all of them done now. I got the buzz, so I'm trying to get them all done as much as possible. So
this is a nice contrast. So Damone and Jamie have done a couple of the majors. This is your first major, so this is actually a nice contrast. You on the right show, brother.
Right.
Definitely on the right show. That's a nice mix up. Lucire, have you done one of the majors before?
I've done New York, I've done Chicago, and I've done Toronto. Is
Wow.
Toronto a major? Wait a minute.
Toronto's not.
No, but we're gonna let you get away with it.
We're gonna let you have it though. Hey, if you did any marathon,
Sure.
Yeah,
you did any marathon, you did a major.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Hey,
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
international. So hey,
International. In fact, not the fact that you're just doing a marathon and doing a major. You're talking about you're going somewhere where you are, what, 5, 6 hours ahead of the States?
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah,
You
we're
know,
preparing
that's
for
the
that. What was
yeah.
that like for you?
That's the interesting thing, JT. I think some people don't consider that, and I didn't consider it when I first started, like the idea of running a major marathon. I mean, I've run like I'm not a marathoner number one. Like I'm a half marathoner and a trail runner, and that's what I love. That's what I'm passionate about. And so marathoning is just something I'm doing, the bucket list items, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But what people don't plan for are all the logistics because when you are
yeah,
even stateside, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a family man, so when I go to these marathons, the guys here they'll tell you like I bring my family with me, so my wife and my kids come too, and so logistics are crazy at some of these things because some of them have a different starting point than finish point. So you
yeah,
figure out how am I getting from the start line to the finish line, and then how am I getting back to where I started, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like traditional races where you start and finish in the same location.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them you're starting and finishing in different locations. And so you have to figure those logistics out after running 26 miles. And so,
Point two.
so yeah. So plus that point two, which can take you out. I figure
Right.
you're taken out in the point two. So yeah, so it really is, man. It's like logistically, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. Even like morning of, like what you're gonna wear before the race starts, how you're gonna keep all your stuff on you while you're running, right? Like it's so many logistics that you have to like think through and plan out before you even get to the start line.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Dwayne, Demar, was it like that for you guys too?
Oh yeah, it was definitely logistics is something. Now the one thing I did have in my background is that I have family in London.
Mm.
So they came up and visited and shared some stuff, but still
Ooh,
it's not the same. They family, but they don't run. So
right.
I still had to work on that. So the time difference, planning for what you're gonna bring as far as fueling. If you want to take some of the fueling that they may have in the other country, is that something that you want to try or just have your own stuff? All those things you got to think about that I really didn't. I mean, I thought about it because I got some input from some other individuals that went, but you really got to think about all that type stuff. Say the start point, that's something, how you getting there, how you getting back, where the hotel is going to be
Mm-hmm.
based on where the finish line is. And we really lucked up because the hotel that we stayed in, me and my family, was about maybe a 5 to less than 10 minute walk from the finish line. So
Perfect.
we were perfect, right? Because I was dead to the world trying to, get back.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, man, because it was a hard race only because I woke up, man, just under the weather and sick. So I
Uh-oh.
guess we'll get to that later on, I guess. So, but this logistic stuff, that's something, and just planning for what could happen, you know,
Right.
and that can kind of blow your mind a little bit. So,
Wow. How many BMR brothers total were over there for the London?
oh
I know there were several others.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know
One,
Philly. Some guys from Philly were
Oh yeah,
there.
they had a crew. Yeah, Philly had a crew.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 of them. I don't
yeah.
know.
We
Okay.
didn't link up. We usually like a link up for a picture, but we didn't do that this time for whatever reason. I
I
don't know.
can't believe y'all didn't link up for a picture. Y'all
Yeah,
in
I
London,
am
man.
too, because we normally do. Like every other
Right.
trip
Yeah,
I've gone, we've tried to like plan a little something, but we
yeah, yeah,
didn't
Yeah.
really do it this time. But
yeah,
but it was several of us. I know I trained one guy that's BMR that was there.
yeah,
Um, and then several others so that I know that were there. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brandon
we
too.
always represent, man. That's one
Yeah.
thing that I love
Yeah. Yeah.
about this organization.
Sir.
And I was telling my wife about it. I was like, what I love and appreciate about BMR, even more so than even my own fraternity, like my own fraternity is like, this is so much more inclusive in that,
Mhm.
in our college fraternities, I mean, you have to be a college, graduate or have gone to college versus BMR, man, you come from any walk of life, any,
Absolutely.
in any space in life, man.
Yeah.
If you want to get healthy,
Hmm.
and just fellowship with some good brothers, this is the place, right? And so
Yeah.
that's a thing.
I was gonna just real quick, JT, just to add on to the logistics, because you start off with about the time difference, and I think that that was really huge for me. Like I'm a horrible sleeper. Like my mind's always going, so I'm up at all kinds of hours and what have you. So I already had that going against me. But you try to be like, all right, I'm gonna get there, several days ahead. I'm gonna try to get in the schedule. And so I think that was one thing about trying to get on some kind of schedule so that you
Hmm.
can get some rest and try to
Mm,
sync up when your body normally wakes up. And how do you kind of figure that out? So I think that that was something trying to take advantage of, at least getting, especially when it's way out of town in another time zone,
Hmm.
about how you're going to adjust your life kind of so that you can settle down and get ready, be up at a good time. And the second thing, which I know happens for everybody when you travel, but trying to find, and brother Dwayne touched on this, like, where am I going to eat? And then what am I going to stock in my, so it's like, when we were
yeah.
in Berlin, like, someone like, oh, they have Aldi's down the street. We're like, oh, Aldi's, like that was something that you recognize. And so like we would go there. And then in I don't know if Dwayne, you were near where I was staying or Jamie, but there was the local kind of grocery store. I forgot the name of it. Started with a B or something like that. Anyway, that was
Mm,
like a godsend because I was like, where I'm gonna get my bagel, where I'm gonna get my peanut butter. And you don't know if their
yeah.
peanut butter is from my peanut butter. Like there was like all of that. So anyway, that type of
Yeah.
thing, which happens locally, but I think that that's this type of stuff that you're looking for as
Yeah.
well in terms of like all the little stuff you need because you can't pack that. Well, you could put that in your suitcase, but then there's stuff, when you go abroad, like London was very strict about the food that you could bring. Like as you were touching down, they were like, if you got this in your bag, this in your bag, this in your bag, and they find out, like they were like, you'll get arrested. Like, I mean, they were like there were penalties and stuff like that. They were very strict, like stuff,
Yeah.
milk products and meat. Like they were like, if any of this is in your bag and we find out, you're gonna be in trouble. That's pretty much the speech that we got, from the, when we were taxing and all of that type of stuff. So
Wow.
it's
Yeah,
funny because I
man.
had like the little Bevita biscuits, and I was like, "Well, I just got milk in it. I don't know if I can eat." So I had it in my hand. They didn't pay me no mind. So then I saw
Yeah.
Bevita biscuits. But anyway, that's the type of stuff too. Like if you want to pack
Yeah.
stuff, you got to find out, especially if it's in another country, what's
Hmm.
allowed as well. If not, you got to make sure you stake out again where you're going to eat, and where you're going to get food, for your pre-race meal. So
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of preparation, more than just traveling to another state.
yeah,
Yeah,
You're
brother.
traveling to another country, so
yeah,
Yeah.
different kind of rules sometimes.
Yeah.
That time zone, it really for that 5 hour difference, it honestly can take you a good 2, 3 weeks to adjust. You're really not there long enough
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to get adjusted to it or make yourself adjust to it. So you're just off for that
Yeah.
time period. And getting ready to do a marathon and trying to get adequate sleep, I would imagine that is a bit of a challenge. Jamie, did you have a hard time with that?
Man, yeah, especially when you're a middle-aged man like me. Hey, bro. Hey, man. Hey, I already have trouble sleeping without
Yeah,
the time
man.
zone change
Okay,
and these night sweats and everything. Hey.
man.
So yeah. So yeah,
Oh, man, that's funny.
that was tough, man. That part was tough. It always is though. If I'm going over, like I haven't done a lot of races overseas, but
Mhm.
same with Berlin. It just took me a couple of days. Now I will say by marathon day, I felt good. Like I felt even by Saturday, I felt pretty adjusted. We got there on Wednesday, and
Mm.
so by Saturday, yeah, I felt pretty good. Like I felt like well adjusted and ready to roll. and then that heat wave got me so.
So it was hot over there, huh?
Yeah, it was hot, man. It was hot. It was hot. Too hot for me.
Really? How hot was it?
Not too hot for Damone, you know what I mean? Like this dude, hey, he's unreal. You know what I mean? I'm trying to catch him. You know, I thought I was beating him, then he passed me up. You know, I see him, I'm like, hey, that's my brother right there. You know?
Oh my gosh.
He gave me a little spark of energy. I made it about another 2 or 3 miles, and I said, you know what, boy,
Likewise.
this right here. Today's not the day.
And so I always tell people doing a race is a great way to see a city.
Yeah.
You kind of know true. So
Yeah.
what was the route like over there in London? What you got? Hills? Is it flat? I'm pretty sure it's scenic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very scenic, right? Yeah, it's very scenic. Relatively flat, in my opinion. You know, these brothers probably could. Mostly flat. I mean, listen.
Mostly.
Hey, look, I like trails. So
yeah,
trail, every other mile is a hill. So it was fairly flat. I mean, it wasn't too hilly. I mean, a little bit of hill, but incline. A little bit of incline.
Yeah, as marathons go, I would consider that to be pretty flat. I mean, it was one of the flatter majors that I've done. I mean, I know Berlin was relatively flat, and Chicago as well. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was. I mean, the hills were insignificant. I would say they weren't ones that I felt like I was gonna crash out on for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there aren't any like Boston or New York.
Nah, yeah, it wasn't any like.
Yeah.
There was a couple where I people were disappearing over the thing, and I was like, wait a minute.
Barometer. Yeah, that's a good point though. That is the barometer. You start seeing people disappear, you're like, ah, snap! It must be a hill coming up. You know?
But it was relatively flat, and literally, I thought, and y'all correct me, like it felt like 96% of that chorus was packed with crowd support.
Oh,
yeah.
Like it was
really
a spot.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It rivaled Boston for sure, like in terms of like the amount of people along the course. It definitely rivaled Boston. Like Boston's the only other one that I remember where I'm like, man, there's just people everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's not a dead zone. Like the only real dead zones were like under overpasses, like that. But like any spot where a person could be, they were there.
We're there, yeah, from start to finish, like every spot, yeah.
And it was so with this course, it was point to point. I did have a little attitude internally, but it was unfounded when they described the course because they said it had a turnaround. I'll switch back, and I was like, oh, like, dang, you're doing a world major, and like you guys, but it was so unnoticeable. Like it looks on the map, it looks like you're like you're gonna hit a cone and turn around, but it's not. Like kind of goes around, and so you're not looking at the other people coming from the other direction for a long time. So it's
just that short,
so it's more of a loop that kind of turns around. So and like I said, there were some hills, but a lot of scenery, a lot of great crowd support. And I went to like the debriefing on the course, when the overview of the course, and they were like, look, London loves their costumes, so you're gonna see a lot of costumes out there. And man, not just like simple costumes, like, and as our brothers would attest, like it was warmer. It was got up to 7 degrees because the race starts a little bit later in the morning. Yeah. So the sun was out, like was by the time we started running, and people had like these elaborate costumes, like Big Ben. There was a unicorn. I talked about a unicorn that I ran past. So you got the ego thing. You'd be like, man, this person got a unicorn uniform on. I can't get beat by the unicorn. I can't get beat by the but they were committed. So anyway, that was kind of cool too, that they were really like, they weren't little costumes. Like people were out there having fun, like just the whole energy and stuff like that. So you get a lot of that on the course.
All that stuff. Yeah.
I think I got beat by the sloth, man.
Not the sloth.
Hey, I got beat by. Hey, I think I might have came in last place, man. I think I might. I gotta check the stats. Somebody came in last.
It was the sloth.
Hey, man.
Oh man. Oh man.
And another thing about this course. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Dwayne.
No, I was just gonna add about the costumes because I know I was running with like it was a rhinoceros. I
Yeah,
mean that
yeah.
whole I'm like, man, how can you run with that
That's
whole,
crazy.
and I think the mystery machine, I saw that. Like the 9 people running in that one get up, I saw them run past, and it was just amazing that they can run that long together with in that hot weather with all that stuff on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And this year, I don't know how London, but this year they tried a lot with being they stepped up the environmentally responsible um, um, elements of the race. So like they had like these porta johns like specifically like for women that
yeah,
if they could use, and they were well, it was literally, I forgot what it was called, but it was basically like a urinal for women.
yeah,
um and they, which was kind of like the thing was they were also using the urine for research, like to see if they can create fertilizer, like some type of fertilizer from that or whatever. But anyway, it was kind of like, because usually women have to wait for the porta johns. And
Right.
so it was a way of kind of like, because dudes will go anywhere. I mean, if they're in a porta john ready and you got to do number one, guys will find a spot. So it was kind of like this whole thing of kind of equalizing that, but then also being environment responsible. They had people picking up when recycling everything. They even had like food, energy bars that didn't have wrappers,
yeah,
like you could eat the actual wrapper. They were just doing a lot. I was part of the green team, so that was people who did not want to. You didn't check a bag. You checked a bag the day before to pick up at the finish line, but you didn't check a bag at the start. So you basically whatever you had on, you just donated. So they had all these different options where they were really trying to do things environmentally. And the last thing, which I would love to hear my brother's take on it, was they passed out water bottles, plastic water bottles instead of cups. The
yeah.
only cups that they had was for their
Energy.
like their
The energy drinks or something
energy
like
drink.
that. Right? Yeah,
And that was like that was like every so many miles. Like it was
yeah,
like only
yeah,
checkpoints.
Oh,
But they
yeah.
passed out water bottles. So the role was, it was the first year they did that. And so the rule is you're supposed to take a water bottle. And they were about this, they weren't like small ones. They were like about that big.
That's pretty
And you
big.
were supposed to drink it. You were supposed to empty it. So whether you drank it, pour it on your head, or pass it to somebody else, you were not supposed to throw a water bottle on the ground that still had water in it. That was the
yeah,
expectation. Of course,
yeah,
people doing whatever. So only reason I say that, it was like it was a great idea because you would grab water and just run with it for a while, and
yeah,
they had bins or whatever. But some people you were seeing taking an L on, like a step on a water bottle and slip and slide. So I'm sure they're going to work on that
yeah,
in the future. But it was an interesting idea, to be able to
yeah,
do a lot of cups and stuff. I don't know how you brothers felt about it, but
yeah,
that was my experience.
When I
yeah.
did Cape Town, South Africa, they had balloons, and you just bit the balloon, and the water went in your mouth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
They had that in Jamaica too for reggae runners.
Oh, hmm.
Bag of water.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's almost like an implant.
A very bad implant, right? Like
very,
Oh
very
man.
cheap implant.
very cheap.
At that point, it's hot as hell. You don't care what
Right.
you just need that water. But
Yeah.
very convenient. Very convenient. What was the most challenging part of the race for you guys, man?
It was the heat for me.
The heat.
Yeah, because I'm used to one, like I said, I'm more of a shorter distance runner.
Mhm.
Like I feel like I can go out and do a half marathon on a warm day, cold day. It doesn't matter, really what the temp is. I can do a decent 13 miles. 26 a little different. And so I'm used to like with the marathons, getting up in the morning, I'm starting the race with gloves on, probably a little jacket that I'm gonna throw off at some point. And I got up that morning, got to the race, and was like, before I even left my family, the family zone with my family, I was like, I don't need any of this stuff on right now. Like
Yeah,
I literally took everything off and was still warm already with like, gosh, I'm thinking this is way too hot for a marathon. And so I tempered my expectations down. I was like, so let me just try to go like maybe like an 8-minute pace. because I was really
Hmm.
wanting to go more like 7:30, 7:20. But I was like, let me slow this thing down to like an 8-minute pace. And so, man, I did that all the way through like mile 11, and I was already like thinking this is not like I'm not even gonna make it to 13 miles at an 8-minute pace, which is crazy because that's like not usually a challenge at all. So I think that's around the time that I saw Damone actually, and I was like, man, I even told him, I was like, man, I'm getting a little tired. I think I'm probably end up walking a little bit this time, you know. So and then yeah, a little bit after that, man, I just hit that wall, and that was it. That was it. After that, I was just like surviving after that. So
Wow. Ooh-wee. Man, what was that? What was your challenge, Damon?
Yeah, I would say that the temperature was a challenge, but I didn't realize how much of a challenge it was because like I didn't feel like I was hot. I knew it was hot. I haven't run this is the first time I ran like a very, very warm marathon. Um, so my body was feeling it. You know what I mean? Like, but I went like, oh man, it's hot. Like I just knew the sun was out and this probably wasn't good, but I could tell like like by mile 10 when Jamie and I saw each other. It was funny because he grabbed me and I was like, oh, somebody about to grab me off the course. But when I saw him and I literally was telling him, I was like, you go do, like, kill it, go crush it. And he was like, nah, man, I'm about to go walk. And I was like, well, I'm gonna walk with you. So neither one of us did that at that time. And I was able to push through. But I like shortly thereafter, by the time I got halfway through, I was already like in plan B, plan C, like, all right, well, if this happens, if I need to walk, this is what you're gonna do, like all that stuff. And so that was it. And the second thing was my own doing. And I know y'all gonna be like, yo, I can't believe you did this. So I'm at the expo. I forgot to get my goo. I use goo as my source, fuel source. And I always have like vanilla bean, and we can talk about later about like all this stuff, but that has like caffeine in it and all that stuff and whatever. So I was trying to switch to something different, and like not supposed to switch to something different before a race. So I'm at the expo and I'm like sampling like all the different goos and asking the guy, like about about the different ones. And I was like, "Was this gonna mess my stomach?" He was like, "The same ingredients, it's just a different flavor." Long story short, I was gonna go for what I know, and then they had this pumpkin spice something,
pumpkin
and
spice,
I
man,
like all
what a pumpkin
flavors.
spice,
And I was
man.
like, this is so bad. And I'm like, I think he was like, whatever. So long story short, you know where this is going, is I just like, let me just get it, And sure enough, I'm on there. So I say all that meaning, like it was a good thing in the expo, but having a different taste in your
Yeah.
mouth and all of that just made it hard. So what ended up happening was I ended up taking, even though I was on a schedule, I ended up taking less of the goos, but like, so I wasn't fueling myself properly
Mhm.
as I normally would during any race because I had something new. And after a while, you kind of like, I don't want to put this in my mouth, like, and so that was it. So the heat and then switching up my fuel source, which was a horrible idea for the race, that was like kind of my bigger challenges. So
Yeah.
And pumpkin. I mean,
pumpkin spice. Don't,
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
The word
It tastes
spice.
like a little pumpkin pie, Thanksgiving
mm,
in the middle
mm-mm.
of what, April? Come on now. None of it makes sense. None of
Didn't
it
have no
makes
sweet potato? What's up? You know,
I'm trying to fool myself.
might have been a little better. Just a little bit. That's something we don't really talk about much. Uh, Fueling for races, specifically half marathons and definitely marathons. I know everybody has something that they do or that they stick to, but probably something we should talk about a lot more going
Yes.
forward.
Yeah.
Because I
I
typically,
just I just listened to a podcast on fueling, and a lot of people do whole foods for fueling. Like one of my best fuels I ever did on a 15-mile run myself was I took some little potatoes and I boiled them with salt water, and that took me a long way, real good.
okay.
I was smooth the whole way. Or like you just said with the pumpkin spice, I use pumpkin itself and boil some pumpkin and eat it. But Whole Foods is awesome, especially dates. Oh my goodness, you
Yeah,
ever do dates? That's an awesome fuel source in a race,
All
man.
right.
yeah.
See, that's good. We're
Yeah,
going to talk about that, Lou.
and I think that's really why I prefer like the half marathons because I feel like I can focus more on like regular foods. I almost feel like it's necessary for me when I go 26 miles to have something different. And maybe I could probably plan like some real foods, but like for 13 miles, yeah, I can like do like, man, I can just like take a couple of grapes and like just something really simple. Like I can really take something really simple if I'm going on like a 13-mile run or even a 13-mile race. I don't typically take a lot of fuel for like if I'm doing like just a 13-mile race. I mean, man, I might not even stop at I may stop at two, 3 water stops and I might fuel like once. That's about it. For
Yeah.
13 miles. I'm just rolling. I'm just getting through the miles.
What is your, you know what your VO2 max is, Jamie?
No,
Okay, because you sound like you got a real good
it's
relationship with your oxygen efficiency for it to be working that good without hardly taking any fuel like that. That's awesome.
yeah. I think it's just because I've tortured myself so much over. I think I think I've just tortured myself, over the miles, for so long. Because that's like I said, that's also my sweet spot. I think like just even when I'm out running, that's what feels natural. Like 13 miles, like 10K up to 13 miles just feels natural.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Wow. What about you, Dwayne? Did you have issues with fuel? You had pumpkin or turkey dressing issues, anything like that?
Yeah, no, you know what? I think my fueling was good, but my challenge, and Sire knows this, that early on in the year, like in August, I had a issue with my Achilles, and so I was battling that all year. When I found out, I got the opportunity to go to London, so I've been training and that whole little deal. But I think Jamie said it or about the logistics. So maybe I probably should have came in London maybe a day earlier. We got in, I think Friday morning. Flew out
Wow.
Thursday night, got in Friday morning, and then bam here Saturday, bam Sunday, marathon Sunday. Um, Now it's not so much the Achilles that was the issue. It was more or less just the time there, and I don't know what happened. Maybe I was sick prior to it, didn't feel it. Barely sleep, that whole little deal. But I woke up Sunday morning, right before the marathon, about maybe 5:30, something like that, and I just felt lightheaded, sweating everywhere. Was in the bathroom, called my wife, hey, just check, make sure I'm good. This that little deal. I went back to sleep for maybe another 20, 30 minutes, and I got up, tried to eat something, couldn't keep anything down, just didn't feel it. And I said, look, I'm running this marathon today. And so, we got on the train, and on the train, felt lightheaded a little bit. And then all I remember is I was standing at one point, then I was sitting down. And so everybody on the bus was helping, assisting, and just making sure I was okay. When I got to my area, I took a nap because I was there maybe an hour and a half early, which was fine. So I just took a nap on the grass, stretched out, relaxed a little bit, and then when it was time to run, hey, I'm like, all right, let's do what I do. And then maybe mile 8 or 9 or something like that. I'm like, okay, let me relax a little bit and just try to finish it. Maybe mile 12, 13, 14, 15, something like that is when it was like, all right, hey, let me just kind of coast a little bit. Let me like jog, walk. Especially when I start looking around and you see, people dropping left and right on the sideline
Wow.
and stuff like that, right? And so I was kind of not really disgusted or mad or upset. It was just hurtful for a few seconds because I know I trained really hard for this first one. And I was really amped up, prepared, had my fueling, the schedule, the whole deal, ready to go. And the one thing I didn't think about was just making sure, I mean, you can't really make sure you don't get sick, but you can try to build your immune system. Or maybe if I got there a little earlier, got my body adjusted, who knows what played the factor. We found a Whole Foods. So, we went to Whole Foods one day, got some food there, we ate well regularly, nothing like that. So it's not one thing I'm blaming, but that was something that really, really took a toll in the beginning. And then I know if my wife was bigger and stronger, she probably would have like strapped me down to the bed like, you're not running this marathon today. But Yeah, but I'm like, my mother didn't even get out of bed because she knew I was going. So my mother and my wife came with me. And so, but I mean, I felt upset more because I said I trained really hard for this first one. And Lasire, because we run together all the time. Lasire could attest. Like I really trained really hard for this first one, and just to get a showing. I don't need a PR, but just to have a good showing. And I went ahead and finished it, and I felt really good when I shut it down a little bit, and I felt good when I finished, and was just excited that I completed it, and and the heat, right? So it was really hot, but I didn't feel hot. And then that was an indication that, okay, something's going on. Because I was trying to run through the sprinklers that they had. And I'm like, hey, man, sprinklers kind of cold. Hey, let me get away from this thing here. And but other than that, that was my only challenge. And I was really disappointed when I woke up because of how I was feeling. And I'm like, man, I planned for a lot of things from my ankle. I had like I had two different shoes I was toying with bringing on to run in. Which one was going to hurt my ankle, which one was not. Different types of outfits, the whole little deal. Had gloves because I get cold, but it was so hot. I'm like, I don't need the gloves. I'm gonna leave that here. The whole little deal. But after that thing, I'm like, man, I didn't plan for that. So maybe I need to come a little earlier. Maybe I need to check my surroundings around people or whatever. I don't know if because I was sick that day, but I noticed that everybody in London was like coughing or sneezing just everywhere. I'm like, hey, what you doing, man? Go away, go away. And
Booties.
my wife had to point that out to me. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I mean, everywhere we went, it was somebody coughing, sneezing, or doing something. And I'm just like dodging it, like, hey, hey, go away, go away, go away. And so that kind of got the bug. But the run, it was great, man. My first 13 miles were fine. And I took my time and just wanted to finish. I understood, hey, don't kill yourself out here,
Right.
And but I really wanted to get this first one done. And then enjoyed the time, right? Because my mind, sometimes you get focused on, hey, I'm gonna run this time and not enjoy the moment with all these great people running past and figuring out, I don't know if y'all heard it or not, but I kept hearing the word Charlie all the time. So I'm like, man, is this some racial word or something? Or is there somebody behind me named Charlie? Because I'm like, who's this Charlie thing? So I had to ask my wife, you gotta look that up, man. What is Charlie? Because I keep hearing this Charlie thing. So she said, okay, it's just a term of somebody they don't know. And what else? Okay, cool. And so, but that was my only challenge. So it was kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it was a great opportunity. And I enjoyed the course, the time there, and the camaraderie of just people I didn't know, and the fans and everybody. It was really good. So
That's amazing. And you finished it, man. So hey,
yeah, yeah,
Finish
yeah,
that
yeah.
thing.
I know
Get
you
that
probably wish you
medal,
felt a
baby.
lot
Get
better,
that
but
medal, baby.
you got that medal, you got that. You still finished, bro. That's
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
kudos to all of our everybody that finished, especially you guys, our brothers out there that finished that London Marathon. Marathon is no small feat. I haven't done a full marathon yet. Um, and I always say I don't know if I ever will do one. I was supposed to do Chicago in 2020 and everything got canceled in 2020. And I haven't
Mhm.
signed, I don't know what made me sign up for that. And I was shocked that I even got in it. So, and I may sign up again at some point, but a marathon is no small feat. And so the fact that you guys went across the pond, across the ocean,
Yeah.
to another country, to another time zone, Dwayne waking up feeling like he been hit by a bus. You got all that heat, 90 plus degrees, it feels like, and you guys
Yeah.
got up there still. That's amazing, guys. It truly is. Be it your first, your second, your third, or fourth, or fifth. That's pretty amazing.
I was gonna say it's funny you say that, and real quick, I one of the things like my reflection at the end of the day of a race, like I said, I was fortunate enough to make it through and to run all the way through. Although it was kind of like about halfway through, I was just kind of like, all right, you're gonna take this as long as you can, and then like I said, you implement Plan B or whatever. But I was fortunate enough just to even slowly, at some point to be able to make it through. at the end of the day, to your point, JT, I think 26.2 miles is 26.2 miles. Whether you fly through it, whether you run it conservatively, whether you jog it, whether you walk it. And so like even when I got home and I was checking, like I wanted to check Jamie, and so I checked and saw his time, and I was like, oh man, he must have had a rough time on the course. But my thing, even to Jamie, man, I was just like, yo, he was out there for 7 hours. Like that is huge. Like, I mean, like to be on your feet and have a determination, like whatever, like I said, whatever decision that you make, like I'm like, if you cross that finish line, and granted, some people can't, they make decisions because body or whatever tells them they need to stop.
Yeah.
It just means pause. But I like that's the type of stuff, man. It's like never to for me, it's like I never look at that as like oh man, I only did that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Things change. All you can do is prepare yourself to get to the start line. After that, even the elites, you know what I mean? They run 24/7 and they get there that day and something goes wrong, whether it's heat, wrong food, like you said, if somebody sneezes on, they got a virus, you can't control any of that. So at the end of the day, I just want to say, JT, to your point, like 26.2 miles feels like 26.2 miles because it's 26.2 miles. And so to cross that finish line is just huge. So I just wanted to, co-sign on what you were saying.
And finish injury free. That's always my goal.
Yeah. Right.
First and foremost.
And alive.
And alive, right.
Alive.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
No,
We ain't going there.
Alive.
Yeah.
You gotta
They won't even go
alive.
there.
Yeah.
You gotta finish that thing alive, man.
And anything can happen, man. And we, as well, we know things have happened before. So absolutely, man. Whatever you need to do it, to get it done. Y'all guys got it done. I'm impressed. Y'all guys are like motivation to a lot of people, inspiration. And so for somebody that's on the fence about, maybe I don't really know if I want to do, first of all, a marathon, two, to go out of the country and do a marathon, what would you say to somebody contemplating?
I would say do it. And that's coming from somebody who hates marathon. Like when I tell y'all I hate marathon, like whoever invented marathon, like if I could resurrect their body to kill their body again, like I would do it. Like it's crazy. I don't know why people do this. But I would tell people, yes, do it because it's a challenge. You learn from it, you grow from it, you become a different person from it. Like there are so many lessons in just the training process for a marathon that you can apply to life. Like just in general, there's just so much that you have to prepare for and think about that it really does prepare you. It disciplines you in a way that you can apply that same level of discipline to other areas of your life, which is also what I love about just running in general.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, we like to thank you guys for coming on the show. This has been a real epic and learnable experience. And the marathon is just, man, I usually say go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you can go a little
further.
Yes.
Right.
That's a classic Lou Sire line. Yeah, we appreciate you guys joining us and coming on the show, man. This has been fun. I wish we could talk even longer. And for everybody out there watching and listening, you have just experienced what we call the Brotherhood.
Yes. Awesome.